Alright, this part of the review is I feel like the newest part, kind of the hardest part of the review. So I'm going to go through these. I'm going to do the first question, and then I'll do a new video and we'll do the second one, and then on the last video I'll do the last two, so I'll just break it up. You guys may be great with this, especially with your notes. If not, I'll just go through this so you have a last bit of extra help on these. So this one says write the following parabola in vertex form. So we know that this one is a parabola. Then identify the direction the parabola opens, the focus, and the directrix, and then draw the graph. So let's go ahead and look at the equation. We know it's a parabola because only one of the variables is squared. And notice it's the y value that's squared, and then there's another y value, right? Which means that this one we are going to solve so that the x is by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, x is equal, and I'm going to move all the other terms to the other side. So I'm going to have negative 2y squared, because when we move it over it changes the sign. Subtract 8y, and then we're also going to move that 4 over. So we would have subtract 4 on this side. Notice this will be a horizontal parabola because it's an x equals. And even just looking at this, we know that it's going to open to the left because of that negative in front of the 2 right there, right? Okay, so to put this in vertex form, we do need to factor out that negative 2, which leaves y squared, plus, when we divide that negative 8 by negative 2, we get 4y. And then, of course, we leave that negative 4 hanging off to the side on the end there. And then we add in that perfect number. So remember, we take half the middle term and square it. So half of 4 is 2. We square that and we get 4. Now, if you have a factor out front, right, we have to consider that. So negative 2 times 4, we've added in a negative 8. So we want to do the opposite on the end there. That allows us to come out with our vertex form, negative 2. And we get y plus 2 squared. And add those two last values to get the positive 4 on the end there. This is our vertex form. And again, we know that that's a horizontal parabola because it's an x equals. And again, that negative right there on the 2 tells us that this is going to open in a negative direction. So when it's horizontal, the negative direction is going to be left. So this one's going to open to the left. We could actually graph this one now. Maybe let's go ahead and graph it. We can use it to help us find the focus and directrix. Just remember that you need this vertex to help you graph that. And the vertex comes from the HK. And remember, when you switch the XY on a horizontal, your HK also switches. So this is actually your H, and your K is in there with the Y. So when I find that over here, I'm going to have 4 comma negative 2. So my vertex is going to be over 4. And down 2. I'm going to graph it right there on the graph. And then notice that this negative 2 out front, right, opens left and stretches it by 2. So I'm going to stretch this by 2, meaning 1 unit away is going to go out 2. 2 units away is going to go all the way out. Usually goes 4, so we're going to go 8. 1, 2, 3, right there. And then it's symmetric up there. So this is kind of our best drawn graph right here, parabola. Okay. Now looking at our graph, we know that our directrix is going to be somewhere over here, right? This line that's going to go up and down right here. And we know that our focus needs to be in here to get wrapped around. So we just need to figure out that p-value so that we know how far away the focus is. So again, the p-value comes from this negative 2 in the front, right? So we're going to say, okay, well, 1 over 4p should equal that value. 2, and let's just put 2 over 1, right? If we cross multiply there, we get 8p is equal to 1. So if you divide by 8, p is 1/8, or if you like decimals, 0.125. Okay, so again, if your vertex, and again, if I wrote your vertex out here for negative 2, your directrix is going to be just beyond that by 1/8. So instead of being at 4, your directrix here, when I write it out, it's a line up and down, so it's an x equals, and your directrix is going to be at 4 and 1/8, or 4.125. Okay, that means your focus, where the parabola is wrapping around, is going to be 1/8 this direction. So you're going to put your focus at 3.875. And then it's still on that -2 axis. So that would be your focus and your directrix. It's opening left, and we've graphed that there.